For the next step in our project, we are going to take your painted plate when it is dry, and you're going to have this handy little template here to mark notches on your plate so we can weave in a tree. And this is where you have to make some decisions. So if you leave the plate like this, where the 2 notches are at the bottom and the 10 notches are at the top, then you'll end up making a tree that's deciduous, a tree that loses its leaves. If you took this and turned it around, so you have 2 notches at the top and the 10 notches at the bottom, you could turn it into an evergreen tree that's on your project. But you have to think about that before you start drawing the notches. So I am going to make a deciduous tree, a tree that loses its leaves. So the 2 notches are going at the bottom and the 10 are going at the top. And I just lay this on top and use a pencil. Doesn't matter if it's a regular pencil, colored pencil, anything that you can see well. And I'm making a mark in every one of these little notches. And lift and pass it on to someone else. Then we take your scissors and you're cutting on the notch. And we're not going past this edge of the plate right here. Notches are cut. Double check all of them before we move on to the next step. You may have to flip it over and make sure that they're all evenly spaced out. This is a way to double check and make sure you didn't miss anything. Then we have to do something called warp our board, which this is becoming our loom. Going to warp it. So we will all be armed with a ball of yarn, and every table will have some tape. We are going to take the tape. If you have to use scissors, that's fine. We're going to take the yarn, and on the top, the very first notch, poke the yarn through. And we just need a little bitty tail, not a big one. And taper down so it cannot go anywhere. And we're leaving the ball attached for the moment. Okay. In the notch, I'm going to take this string, bring it down to the bottom, poke it through. And I'm trying to keep this tight enough that when I flip it, it bounces right back. We don't want it all loosey-goosey and dangling like this, because then you will have problems when we get to the next stage. So now I pop up next door, go to the next notch. I know this looks a little confusing. It'll make sense in a little bit. Pop up right next door. And bring it down to the first notch. Pop up, down. So I'm always going to the empty notch up here. Down here I tend to go to number 1 notch first, the one on the left. And then I go to the one on the right. Okay, I have yarn in all of my notches. All of these are tight. And please let me check these before you go and tape things down at the end. So now that this is all warped, I'm going to cut my string. And we get the tape out again. And taper down. So the back side should look something like this. And the front side is going to look like a really messed up tree. It'll make sense in a minute. Now we're going to take some more yarn, a couple arms lengths. I'm going to take this string, put it underneath, crisscross, poke it through. I'm bumping it up a little bit. I don't want it right on the edge because we don't want this to pop off. Pull and try to keep it tight. And then we do it again. This would be the hard part. If you're having trouble, come see me. All right, now we're going to take this, and you may have to kind of wad your yarn up a little bit. We're going to wrap around and around, gently pulling as you go. We're trying to work our way up And if it doesn't look 100% perfect, that's okay, as long as it's kind of consistent. Notice I'm going up higher. I'm not building all my yarn up in one location. As I go, the parts where your warp strings were crisscrossing, they just kind of straighten out on their own. Once you think you have made your trunk tall enough, then we have to take this little string and we need to tie it off. So I'm going to make a loop, wrap it around one more time, poke it through itself, pull. I'm going to do this one more time, make a loop, poke it through, pull, to secure it a little better. And this is how we warp our board, so it looks like a tree.